I am still a Powerpuff Girls fan, and I heard that everybody remembers the episode Him Diddle Riddle. Well, let me tell this story about it. When it was a snowy day outside of December, I really rather watch every Powerpuff Girls episode that I watched twice a day. When I watched every episode, well, you know, that episode that I really like about. The episode was called Him Diddle Riddle. I really like this episode in my bashing opinion. After when I watched the episodes, I really noticed that I was about to play the episode. I pressed the play button on my remote and the video finally started. The intro was normal, and the episode started normal. When Buttercup kicks the old man in the stomach, he puts his hands up and started crying. After when she kicks the man in the stomach, Buttercup flews to the baby stroller. She then grabs the baby rattle and starts shaking the baby rattle. And she also made the baby cry. And it showed Bubbles that she asked the man with a dark green hat and dark green jacket, Bubbles that literally said that her dog is lost, and she also made the man cry. And it showed Blossom that he tells the girls that she doesn't have the right way to do this. Bubbles said to the baby that her dog has lost, and Buttercup punches the mother and fell to the street. And it showed the clock said 12:05. Blossom starts to think that she knows a better way. While Blossom was thinking, a car had drove by. When the car had drove by, the car then splashed to Blossom, making her wet, and it showed of Blossom's face expression, with a sad look on his face, and I was still felt noticeable when I saw this. And then the music had finally stopped without any cutscenes. And I literally heard the sounds of water dripping. The water dripping was for at least 9 minutes. While the water was dripping, there was something that goes off. While Blossom was looking at the camera with a sad look on his face, there was literally silence for about 18 minutes straight, as Blossom then said to the camera with sad expression on his face.
Hey, what are you guys are looking at me while I'm wet? I really can't deal with you guys that I'm wet. Now stop looking at me when I was about to cry.
While Blossom said that, a tear was dripping down on his eye. I really felt so scared that Blossom was literally about to cry. And then Blossom said this before she starting to cry.
Please, stop looking at me while I am wet. If you're still looking at me, I'm about to.
While Blossom could finish his sentence, she then whimpering, like a dog, and Blossom literally starts crying. And the crying was literally sound like a baby crying sound effect that is. And Blossom then continues to cry for about 34 minutes. While Blossom starts crying, the cries are getting louder and louder while she starts crying louder. When Blossom continues crying, the water had changed. However, the water had changed into blue to red. And the tears in her eyes are now red. Do you think it kind of looks like blood? Well, it does. Then Blossom starts crying in a demonic and distorted effect. And the cries and getting louder and louder and louder and louder. The crying was so loud that really had to cover my ears with some earmuffs. While she starts crying, Blossom then said something else in a demonic and distorted voice in the episode.
You sucker! I'm not crying because of you guys looking at me while I'm wet. Now leave and turn off this TV right now.
And then, Blossom literally starts crying. And gets louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and louder of all. The loud crying was definitely sound like a scream. What in the God name of earth is going on? I asked in shock and fear, while Blossom starts to loudly crying. The crying grows louder and loudest, and the TV then went to static, and the crying finally stops. Thank God that noise is gone. I asked in a relief. Was the TV is staticking? The TV had turned off by itself. I was really so shocked about what TV had turned off by itself. What? How did the TV just turn off by itself? I questioned in shock, and I was really so scared what I saw. Then I went to get my computer and contacted Cartoon Network and asked for this episode Getting Scary. And that night, I cannot sleep. Because the episode what I just watched, in my bedroom, I really had my Bubbles and Buttercup plushies in my bed and protect me for my nightmares. Now this looks like a normal Powerpuff Girls episode or a bootleg Powerpuff Girls episode in the series.